came out of the caves about 5-10 minutes ago at the bus stop, waiting for the bus to go back. Basically, it's quite interesting. The caves were occupied by mainly the Druids, Anglo-Saxons and Romans. They all tried to get lime for different reasons, and also during World War One, the soldiers used to keep TNT and look after it there, but because not really much happened there, they used to entertain themselves. They used to carve the walls, so they used to put carvings into the walls, and it was like a base for ammunition basically. And people used to stay in the caves. There was like a barber, a dentist, toilets even. People used to stay there to be safe as shelter from like an air raid. And one more thing, someone was born in there. One person born in there, had a church in there, or one person born in there. I don't know if the guy was being serious, but I said it's called Cavina. Only one person born in those caves around that time. But yeah. Okay, so basically guys, I just got back home. I'm trying to find good lighting. Basically I had to end the last video I was playing in the caves because my bus was coming. But let's continue on from there where we left off. The Chislehurst Caves is 22 miles long, and they used to, I'm not sure if I already said this, they used to use like store ammunition there for the Woolwich Arsenal during World War One. And also people said the Druids used to have like a section at the altar where they would sacrifice children. So it's kind of like I don't know what the ritual was, but yeah, I didn't ask about that. Yeah, the caves goes into, I'm wondering if it's 22 miles long, I wonder what other areas it expands to, because 22 miles is quite a long way. And I know Chislehurst is quite a big place, but yeah, we weren't allowed to film inside, no flashy devices, and you weren't allowed to do torches and stuff. But on the outside bit before you go into the tour, I think you're allowed to take pictures and stuff, because I saw people doing that, so I done it too. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to film the tour or anything, or any of the things there. But underneath there, they had like, I think we told you, like a barber's, dentist, hospital, church. There's lots of men's and women's lavatories. Apparently as well, they used to take a task where if 12-hour challenges, anyone survives the full 12 hours. I don't know what they won, but yeah, apparently there's only one winner out of over the 30 years that they tried. And also, the winner apparently was a policeman. We said he'd never ever do it again. And Chislehurst Caves is known for being haunted. I know some people are skeptical of the supernatural things. They think whether it's real or not. Me, I'm kind of like, I know not everything can be explained by science, so I'm like interested to know. I don't know if I would rather find like first-hand experience or second-hand experience, but I would say I'm skeptical in terms of, I don't not believe in hauntedness, like haunted things like I don't not believe in ghosts. I believe there's things we don't understand, or maybe things that can be explained, but we just haven't discovered the correct explanation yet. So I'd say, oh, my lips are a bit dry, sorry guys. That's not my lip, it's my hair, my beard hair. The light is shiny, but it looks like I've got dry lips. It's just my beard hair. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, I'm the kind of person who's like, I want to find out the answer because I don't know. So I'm open to different answers when it comes to things about like supernatural things like ghosts, spirits and all that stuff. But yeah, quite interesting to see. And apparently there was another time in 1995, I think he said, the tour guide, that someone did attempt a 12-hour challenge. And when they attempted the 12-hour challenge, apparently the two tour guides, they couldn't be together. They had got for it, like you could want to do it on your own. So there would kind of be a certain distance where they couldn't see each other, and they placed things there where they could see each other. The tour guide said that that basically one of the tour guides, because they worked the 8 hours, thought it'd be easy. One of the tour guides got injured and felt unconscious, yelled, and then the other tour guide went to find him because it was still close by, even though they couldn't see each other. He was unconscious, and then they took him to hospital. He had a dislocated shoulder, and nothing. The doctors couldn't see anything that could explain what happened because there was no marks or like there was no like physical evidence as you would see like scientifically, I guess. Maybe as a doctor, there was a procedure they come through it, but so it's a bit of online. So the challenge got banned, and as well, the guy who was injured, was unconscious, had no memory of it, so it was a bit weird. Yeah, so that's a fascinating story to have. tomorrow or Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, we're gonna go towards the Maritime Museum because we meant to do that a long time ago. And the last thing we're gonna go is Fall Farm. So yeah, we've got these two places to go over the next couple of days, and then the travel vlogging series will be uploaded on YouTube. I'm gonna do it after I finish my gaming series, but and yeah, we will get to see the travel sites and stuff. I've got a lot of editing to do, so I'm excited about that, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. So if you like content like this, like, follow and subscribe for more. And if you don't like it, dislike, unsubscribe and unfollow if you don't want any more. Yeah, I almost forgot. There was a kid as well who was like a baby when they were talking about the sacrifice for the altar. I just wanted to like touch everything, or lying down in the sacrifice. Everyone was laughing because they found it hilarious. It's like the tour guy was like, "Oh yeah, you got a really sacrifice for you there." But it was quite a dry humorous tour guide. Yeah, it made it entertaining though. As well, the lights are pitch black, so they give you like lanterns so you can see, because the cave's actually pitch black at a certain stage. But I feel like I would be able to see in that. Maybe it's because I got bad eyesight anyway, but who knows, I'm used to not being able to see. Yeah, there's one more thing I forgot to mention. Lots of famous bands used to play in the Chislehurst Caves. I don't know if it was just testing kids' knowledge or not, but he did mention, the tour guide mentioned Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Johnny Laverden, Led Zeppelin. I don't know, but I don't know which ones are. I know Rolling Stones are were famous quite a long time ago, so they probably did play there. And I don't know what the other name Johnny Laverden. I heard the name before. I know that's two of their songs, but I don't think Jimi Hendrix is American. I mean, I'm sure maybe Americans might play there, who knows, but whatever. There was one more thing I forgot to mention about the caves, and that was, I can't remember if the name was Sandy Brown or Sandra Brown in 1995. It was an artist who'd done a carving in one of the walls. It had a green light on it when I visited, and it took her 6 months to complete, and it happened in 1995. And apparently she had to repeatedly request to do that until one day one of the tour guys let her do that. But they said they had like terms and conditions, I don't remember exactly. It was something like if she went down there, she had to stay down there a whole day, she's not allowed to come out. And they weren't really sure if she was a bit crazy, or because no one had seen, she didn't have a portfolio, so no one had seen her work yet, so people just took a chance, and luckily it paid off for them, and she was actually a good artist. So if you can't tell what this is there, it says, "Welcome to the Royal Bethlrm Museum. This is the world's oldest mental health institution that existed as a mental hospital for people with mental health conditions." It was opened in 1247. This is a timeline of events shown here. This is a little known area because it's a hidden gem somewhere in between Beckenham and Shirley, and very close to West Wickham too. And here it goes throughout the history of the mental health conditions and how they were treated, and the artwork here is signed by many mental health patients themselves. They all represent different things, and there's lots of labels that you can see that describe what the artist was trying to portray in their pictures. A lot of the staff that were patients there also gained some stability by also becoming staff there as well, so it was a mixture of both. I noticed as well there's a good connection between artwork and mental health. A lot of people who suffer from mental health conditions are very imaginative and are very good at artwork, and it seems to help them. It's like they find it therapeutic. That's one of the models as you walk in the front of the stage. I didn't mean to get someone else's picture there, I'm sorry whoever that was. But yeah, there's lots of things. I just took lots of different photos. I wasn't really sure what to focus on, but there's lots of different things that about the health and safety, and interactive things, like a little booklet there you can read. There's things you can take cards down, and when you take the cards down you can write like little notes to them about what you think about the processes of mental health and what's your opinion on certain things. And also with the mental health, there's like a little interactive screen at the end where you interact about the decision whether someone should be allowed out of the hospital because they're inpatient, but they voluntarily made themselves an inpatient, an outpatient, but they voluntarily made themselves like an outpatient, if that's the right word for it, like someone who volunteers to walk in. This here is like I think the King's Room. This is the King's Room. It's very it's a very prestigious area. I don't think it's the King's Room or the royal family. You guys have to read it because it's been a long time since I filmed this. I was meant to go over it near towards the time, but I had quite a lot going on, so I'm doing this about 2 months later. Yeah, this here is the chemical strength that they used, and it caused severe pain, but people couldn't move because some of them paralysed people as well. They also used to have the use of like stray jackets and belts, which changed during time over the material. Some were felt less restrictive than others. Now it's the least restrictive material and probably the most comfortable that they use for people who are harmed themselves and others. Here, you can turn these little tiles and you can see what's on the other side. They have little things where you can get a piece of paper and show what you think different artworks which are numbered means. There's a little book as well that you can flick through someone's story. There's a book you can pick up and read. I read through the whole thing whilst I was there.
So basically it made it back here in Michigan, going towards the National Maritime Museum.
Life story, what it was like.
We came through here the other way, I think, one time. But now we're going through the opposite way around.
The National Maritime Museum is one of the largest maritime museums in the UK or even the world. Here, I like about here they make it accessible as they have large print text for visually impaired people. So people who struggle to read full normal size text need large print to be able to see things clearly. That's quite accessible for people like that, like myself and others. So a lot of people don't understand what visually impaired is. They think you're either blind or have full sight or glasses. Being visually impaired is in between. It's like you have enough sight to see, but it can't be corrected with glasses. This here is, I believe, a chapel, an ancient chapel. If I'm remembering correctly, there was signage, but I think it was a long time ago, so my memory's not fully accurate. There's lots of medals here for the ships for different reasons. I think they run rewards and stuff for their ventures and exploration of the sea. I'm not sure. Correct me, guys, in the comments if I'm wrong. For future names,
so I just finished entering the National Maritime Museum on my way back home now because they're about an hour and a half where it closes, so we'll finish that off tomorrow or Thursday. I think tomorrow is Thursday, and then we're going to go to a fowl farm in Biggin Hill, so that's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
In my last little clip, I said I was going to finish it off the next day, but I had to come back here another 2 or 3 times because the museum is so big. They weren't joking when they said it's one of the biggest museums in the world, or maritime museums that is. So basically, the Maritime Museum has a history of past explorers, lots to do with ships, some to do with Caribbean, Caribbean adventures, has to do with the British and Chinese opium war, a bit like another museum we went to, I think it was the Horn Museum. Also to do with like Indian teas, and the Cutlass Ark has the same thing about Chinese teas as well, and how basically Britain colonized 3/4 of the world and basically tried to force their presence on them, which in the end had pros and cons for both sides. And to be honest, I personally think that they could have gone about things in a more cordial way, but I guess that was the way of the times. People just come to whatever country and try to take over. Yeah, here's lots of interactive stuff that you can do. So there's lots of things you can pick up, you can read, you can pull things out in certain areas, you can read through books. There's lots of interactive activities as well, watching little mini tablet screens. They also have a bit about the Arctic and what people use the Arctic for, whether Antarctica should be owned by anyone. I know different territories own certain parts of Antarctica, but no one really fully owns it properly. They just have territories within that land because it's so big. And there's where a lot of military stuff goes on. I think this is about the British tea trade or not? I don't know. I'm not sure where this part is. Yeah, so it's all to do with exploring of outer world, different explorers. Like there's a section of Napoleon on here. There's also a section of other famous explorers set above the whole theme. That got a whole theme of two famous explorers going and making significant progress and discoveries for the part of the world that they came from, because they didn't know about it before. There's lots of things to do with weapons as well, and things to do with how the ships were used in the war, different ceremonies, both during World War One and World War Two, I think. And yeah, this is the different ceremonies here, but they're separate from the World War Two, World War One thing I was talking about, I think. And I'll just go in here trying to view all the ships, but lots of people in the way, so I have to kind of film it awkwardly and just wait for them to move. It's very beautiful. The ships are very good designs, and they're very, very big. Like they're massive, and they're very like immaculate. The way they had a lot of thought into it and how to make their ships one of the best. They adapted over time from all over the world. Each of their ships get bigger and better, or smaller and more efficient, depending on what they need and what they're used for. Because not all of them were warships, not all of them were explorer ships. Some of them were used for trade ships. Some of them were used for slavery, and some of them were used for other things. So you have like different sections. You have like a polar world. You have just the maritime world in general. You have a section of famous explorers. You have a section on the Atlantic slave trade. So, and you have a section on the polar world is to do with Arctic and Antarctica. They mix it together. You also have a section on South Asia and also East Asia. It mainly focuses on China and India, since those are the most well-known places in East Asia and South Asia. However, I'm sure other countries were affected too, because at one point India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, I think there's a couple more countries, but all one country until the British ruled it and kind of split them up. And India was doing very well for itself until the British came along. The thing I like about the Maritime Museum is it goes through across the whole world. It even has a section on Oceania and a section of countries that are not known outside of Australia, because Oceania, I was taught that it was a continent, but people say it's Australia, but I think it depends on where you're from or what school you go to. But yeah, outside of Australia, people kept their culture and try to keep everything what they wanted, their traditions and culture when they were colonized. They managed to keep it. So this is the Arctic world I'm talking about. When I talk about Australia, that was a completely different topic from the photos. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on here. Lots of interesting facts about the different vehicles they use to get across the snow, and the materials they use to keep them warm so that they don't freeze to death. That's a snowmobile right there. I don't know what the technical name for it is. I'm quite amazed by how much was captured and all these historical records that go to play. Like the Maritime Museum did a great job capturing it. Obviously they could only fit so much limited information in here, but they've done a lot of research. There's a special tea made, masala tea, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, so there's a traditional way of doing it, and it's one way that it's like they use to welcome guests and visitors. It's very, very sacred in terms of being part of their tradition. It's only brought out on special occasions. That's what I said when I was watching the video. So if anyone's more familiar with the topic, please teach me, because I'd like to learn more. I'll be honest, this video is a bit more rushed because I feel like I could have split my content into better things. The whole thing was basically, when it came to my content, I didn't do it in order that I originally planned. I kind of had to mix and match it, so that's why it's a bit half patched here and there. Because how I originally planned it out, I didn't manage to do the same things on the day I originally planned because of opening times and closing times, meetings, work, all sorts. So it was difficult to plan around all of those things. So now it's a bit jumbled up. You got a lion there. Yeah, I think that was one of the famous explorers. A lot of different things happened, and thinking about the history is quite gory. I don't understand why people were so savage. Like, they were basically savages. Back in the day, most people were just savages. They didn't really care for one another. They just took what they wanted and left. I mean, I guess things haven't changed too much today. It's just changed them in methods. Rather than, it's not physical, it's more indirect savageness than actual savage, like physical savagery. If that's a word. So yeah, I'm gonna stop speaking now because I've been mumbling on and on about nothing and not really knowing much information. You guys feel free to listen to some music instead whilst this show reel goes on.